Welcome to the Voices of CFMA podcast, sponsored by Premier Construction Software. I'm your host, Sal Marino, and today I'm sitting down with Lynne Pace, CFO at Danson Construction in Arizona. Lynne has been a CFMA member for nearly 2 decades, and in that time, she's served on chapter committees, worked her way up through chapter leadership, and chaired the membership committee. She knows what it looks like, show up, stay involved, and build something over time. Today, we're talking about volunteering, what it takes, what it gives back, and why it might be the most underrated career move in this industry. So let's get into it. Lynne, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us on the Voices of CFMA. Of
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
course. So why don't you take us back to the beginning? How did you land in construction finance?
Actually, in my previous life, I was in transportation for 20 years.
Okay.
And the company that I worked for had up until that point been owned by one man, and he was selling it to another company in France. And just based on a number of the changes we all saw coming, a lot of us jumped ship, to be honest about it. And I just went to a recruiter, and lucky happenstance, he got me into construction. I wasn't looking for it. I knew nothing about it, but I wound up in a great place.
Wow, that's awesome. So when you joined construction, did you see yourself staying there for the long term?
At first I didn't, just because the accounting side of construction is so entirely different than what I was
Right.
used to in transportation. And luckily, my first year, it was a GC that I went to work for. My first year at that GC, the conference happened to be here in Phoenix that year. And my boss, who was the CFO of the company, said, "You need to go." I said, "What is it?" She said, "It doesn't matter. Go." I said, "Well, what am I going to learn? What am I doing?" She said, "Just go. Just go." She just kept saying, "Just go." So I went, and after being there for about a day and a half, I signed up for CFMA because I realized that was the place to be. This is what I was looking for.
That's awesome. So this person, I guess was the colleague who brought you into CFMA then, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
What did you think it was going to be and how did that compare to what you actually found?
I expected it. Transportation conferences are entirely different. It's a lot of big equipment. It's a lot of people talking about, the rock and the cement and all the nonsense that they're using, and then the vehicles that they're driving, and the this that, and it's like I can do it, but I had no affinity for it. And then when I went to CFMA, I met the best people in the world. I had no idea what I was walking into, but I just went up to all the booths. Like I say, I can talk. So I walked up to the booths and I just talked to people, and I enjoyed it so much. And then the seminars and webinar, or the seminars that I had signed up for, it was like, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly where I want to be. And I went back afterwards and I told her, "I'm so glad you told me to go do this, because now I know people there. I know where I can go to get help. I know where I can learn this." About 6 months in of being a member, it was like, heck yeah, this is it. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
That's so great. So how long before you started thinking about getting involved beyond attending events?
Well, here at Valley of the Sun, we have a word that I'm sure a lot of our different chapters use, and that word is voluntold. So I was voluntold that I needed to check out a couple different committees, but the first one that was mentioned to me was membership. And
Okay.
honestly, I still have an affinity for the membership committee at this point because, number one, that's where I walked in the door. And number two, I got to know so many people in our chapter being on the membership committee, and then working on the different lunches. And then I moved into like the education committee and a bunch of other committees after that. But that was such a great stepping stone, because a lot of the people that walked in the door were following in my shoes where I'd been 6, 9 months before that.
Right. Right. Was there anyone or anything along the way that sort of opened the door or pushed you to take that next step for volunteer or voluntolding?
Um, a number of years ago, we used to do a lot of the educational seminars here in town, and the material was supplied by National. And there were a number of people in the membership committee that kind of said, you need to check out the education side of it too. And it was great because not only did I learn a lot, but I got to know another group of CFMA peeps that I didn't know before that. and there was so much more there. And I remember the one seminar we were having at a local GC, I'm sitting back in the back just to hear comments until I had whatever I needed to do that day.
Mhm.
And there was a couple of women that were sitting, like, a couple next to me, a couple behind me, a couple in front of me, and they were all saying how, "These seminars are great, but they're all kinda up here, and we're all kinda down here." And then I realized, we could start doing that, and once that door opened and we went to the basics of construction accounting and we started offering that, then all of a sudden I met a whole 'nother group of people, and I got into the golf tournament and the CEOY, and it was just I found the more that I did, the more that I wanted to do, because it's the other thing that we all say in CFMA. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it, and that is the honest truth. There is no two ways about that.
Has volunteering changed the way you show up as a CFO?
Yeah, definitely. In
Yeah.
fact, it actually helped me a lot. This year, I'm at 19 years and something months as being a member of CFMA.
Uh,
And the company that I'm at now, I'll be here 6 years this year.
okay.
And the owner here had talked to a number of people at CFMA, and so I didn't have to come up with any references. Basically, when I walked in the door to meet him, he was ready to hire me. And then after he hired me, he's like, "Okay, I want you to meet our insurance people. I want you to meet our broker. I want you to meet," and every single person that walked in the door, they all went, "Lynn, I didn't know you were here." And that's because this was my CFMA community. I
Right.
knew all these people, and it has made such a difference because I've known some of these people almost as long as I've been a member. And I can pick up a phone and say, "Help, this is my situation." One of them was a CFO over at a heavy highway. They did both prime and subcontracting. And at the time I was at a subcontractor, and ADOT came in and they were saying that all of our drivers, which we only had 3/4 ton pickups,
Right.
needed to have the CDL logs. I knew nothing about that. I called the CFO and I said, "Dave, help." I mean, it's so wide open. It doesn't matter what you know or what you don't know. You either have a community that you can call for help, or your community can call you and ask for help. And it's great because even if we only see each other at the conference and we only see each other like this over the internet, we still know each other. We can still talk to each other. And it's so much nicer than having to call people you don't know. You don't know if they have good information. You don't know if they're talking out their ears, to be polite. It's
Yep.
great to have a community to answer every question you have. And if they don't know the answer, they have no problem saying, "I don't know, but let's check with so and so because they probably do know." And it makes a world of difference. It just makes you feel like you can conquer anything because even if you don't know it, you know somebody that knows it and they will help you. Never had one person in CFMA say no. That has never come up.
That's awesome. And I think bandwidth is short on everyone's side, and I think there's a lot going on. But and I think a lot of members probably think I'd love to do this, but I just don't have the time right now. What would you say to somebody who said that to you?
First off, don't believe it. Do not believe it, because
Okay.
whatever time you spend on it, you will get so much more out of it. Second off, there are so many different committees. Some of them have very short-term commitments like CEOY. You're dealing with one event in the year, or the golf tournament, you're dealing with one event in the year. Or if you go with education, you're always planning a couple months ahead of time. So it might be a call once every 2, 3 months. It is not
Right.
like when you volunteer, you're committed, boom, you're there. They're going to want all of your time. No, it does not happen that way. Whatever bandwidth you have, you can find a slot within CFMA that you are going to thoroughly enjoy. And the other side of it too is we don't tie anybody to the chair. If you figure out that committee is not your cup of tea, try a different one. You will find a place that you can call home and you will be so happy when you do it.
Right. And do you think it matters what stage of your career path that you're in, or is there really no bad time to start?
There is no bad time to start. In fact, we had strategic planning on Friday, and that was one thing every one of us agreed is it doesn't matter. We don't want to say new members because a new member could be somebody that joined but hasn't really started participating.
Right.
So you could be 3 to 5 years in, 5 to 10 years in. that is not a good word. It's like if you have, some people get into construction like I did and you really don't know what you're doing. That's a great time because you got a crowd that can help you learn what you need to know. But by the same token, somebody that's been in construction as long as I have and really hasn't participated, you will be so happy when you start volunteering and you start getting into things because I also like to say we have a lot of fun. We work our butts off, but we have a lot of fun and doggone it, we're cute too.
Well, thank you for that soundbite. That's going to be fantastic. Um, okay, member for 19 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. What do you get up to in your spare time when you're not working?
My husband's a drag racer.
Oh,
So
wow.
we do that a lot. It's bracket racing. So
Okay.
it's not none of the pro classes, but it was a station wagon for many, many years, which you can kind of see the picture in the background there.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's a 62 or 63 dart. I forget which one it is.
Wow.
I myself love counted cross stitch. I find that so relaxing, and it makes great gifts for everybody. And reading, I read. Um, I believe it was from Bewitched, the old show. It was called Voracious Ravenous Itis for reading, and that's what I have.
That's awesome. Can you do both of those with the drag racing, or do you
Actually,
have to
yeah,
focus?
because there is a
Yeah.
lot of downtime. There's a
Okay.
lot of downtime in between the rounds and stuff. So, yep, I can do it all at once and have lots of fun.
That's amazing. Very cool. So you are now on the exec committee. What does that mean to you personally?
I was so excited when I got the phone call from Jennifer asking me to join Exec. I went through Spring Creek a couple years back, and it was Jennifer Murphy and Margie and a whole bunch of people that are on Exec is who I had gone through Spring Creek with. But because I had, like I say, I had 20 years in transportation before I found construction. And I really didn't want to step into the officer role because I felt like the people that were younger that were coming up behind me were the ones that really need to do that. I find I needed to find something else to do. And I've served on a number of committees on both the local level and the national level, and I've enjoyed every one of those. But when Jennifer called me and asked me to join Exec, I was jumping up and down, seriously. I was so happy. That was so exciting. It's a great group of people. We come from all different parts of the country. We all do different things day to day. But it's funny, whenever we break up into groups to talk about different issues, we all seem to come back with basically the same ideas and the same idea. And it's like, I don't know how they managed to match us up so well, but it is just, I love being part of it. It is so exciting. It is so much fun. And I feel like I'm getting to contribute more, which is what I want to do because I really appreciate CFMA.
It's awesome. And for those who maybe don't know what the exec committee does, can you give a Cliff Notes version?
We meet for approximately 2 days spread over 3 calendar days, once a quarter, and we work on a couple different mega issues. We decide what needs to maybe be tweaked a little bit, what direction we need to go. Um, a lot of it is just moving into this century. It's like
Yeah.
one of my biggest pet peeves in the world is when people say, "But we've always done it this way." It's like,
Yeah.
good lord, that's horrible. So a lot of the stuff we're working on too is just we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to make things more open, more accessible, not only to our CFMA members, to a lot of the other organizations that are out there that really don't recognize what we are. We know who we are, we know what we do, but there are a lot of other industries out there within different organizations that aren't familiar with us. So we'll take on different topics and figure out what we can do to make things better for all of us.
Awesome. And your first conference was Phoenix. We're back in Phoenix this
Yes,
year. Are you excited?
very excited. It's number one. To be perfectly frank about it, I get to sleep in my own bed, which makes me very happy. Makes my husband very happy.
Yep.
Um, but it's nice to be able to show off a little bit. You
Sure.
don't wanna call it that, but it is. We want people to come to Phoenix and have one of the best conference experiences that they've had by coming to Phoenix because it is a great city. We call it home, and we wanna share it with everybody.
Awesome. I'm very excited for this conference. So, yeah. So, if someone's listening to this and they're on the fence about reaching out to get involved, what would be the one thing you would want them to walk away from this with?
Don't be afraid, don't be scared. We don't bite. We are very,
Most of
very
us.
nice to new people, but you will honestly, you will have a very good time. You will enjoy yourself and you will make a difference. You will feel good and it doesn't hurt at all. If you go back to the office and something comes up and your boss goes, "Well, where'd this come from?" You say, "Well, I'm part of CFMA and this is what we did." It helps in your career path. It can help like it helped mine. He talked to a bunch of CFMA people. I thought I was walking in for an interview. I had the job. It can work the same for you. You can
It's
go
amazing.
further in your career, you can advance your career, but you can have a great time doing it too.
Very nice. Well, Lynn, I end the podcast recently with a question. It's a fill in the blank.
Okay.
In the future, I hope CFMA will blank. Do you have anything for that?
Boy, we do so much now. Um,
Right?
You know what? It would be really cool if, again, one of the mega issues that Exec we're working on is getting better known throughout the industry.
Yeah.
Here in Phoenix, there seems to be pretty good recognition when we say CFMA, but it would be so cool if, regardless of where you're at in the country, what city you're in, if you say something about CFMA, people go, "I know what that is. I've heard about that." They may not know everything, but at least the name recognition is there. I think that would be very, very cool.
I agree. I'm pushing for a Super Bowl commercial next year, so we'll see if that happens.
Especially if bears are in it.
Right? There you go. Lynn, this has been fantastic. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Whatever your qualms are, go join a committee. You'll love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lynn, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sal. I appreciate it too.
That's a wrap on today's episode. A big thank you to Lynne Pace for her time, for being so open about a journey that I think a lot of members will recognize, and a few more might be inspired to start. If this conversation got you thinking about getting more involved with CFMA, head to cfma.org/volunteer to see what opportunities are available at the chapter and organization level. And if you're not already a CFMA member, there's never been a better time to join. We'll be back here next month with another conversation. And until then, thanks for listening. See you then.